My next question is to you personally. Who is Chiquita for you, and where did this idea came from on personal level?
So I would love to share this experience, but just as a disclaimer, see, these experiences are very personal.
I
When we share them, people who do not connect to these ideas might think I might be exaggerating these things for the sake of movie, right? And people who believe in this might understand, but I myself might not have understood these things had I not made Chiquita. So when I started Chiquita, I did not start off thinking that I will make a movie about Devi. Forget
Okay.
about which form of Devi. And I was like new to Texas when I started thinking about this idea. And the whole setup has, I mean, just because I moved to Texas, the word Chiquita and the whole setup made so much sense. Had I been in another state, this whole thing would not have been this way. So I feel very blessed that I got this idea of, suddenly it flashed in my mind that there is one American, and it's a dark deserted valley, and he somehow finds a mysterious little girl over there, and that changes his life. Now I didn't know which form of Devi, how old that little girl should be, and then things started falling in place, and that was really thrilling for me, because I have to be very honest that I didn't know even the exact name of that form of Devi when I started the script. But when I started looking up the details of, can I show Devi like this? So if so, which form? If so, why that form? How would I show her? How would he look at him? What kind of music should play? This ties back to the first question that we discussed, where we wanted that particular scene to be very, very convincing. They shouldn't be feeling even for a moment that, oh, this is so out of place. Why would this guy do it? Right? So, to answer your question, I have learned a lot because of this idea in my mind, but I did not start off thinking that I'm making a movie about Indian philosophy and Devi and a Texan biker, all this.
It evolved along the way.
Yes, and it came up very naturally, and every new discovery I made was very exciting to me, because it was, just take the title, Chiquita. Chiquita in any other state would not have made any sense. I mean, if people watch the movie, they would understand. Chiquita is a Mexican word for a little girl,
Little girl. Yes, I do.
like Spanish word. So not Mexican, but Spanish, yeah. But this word in this context makes sense for this particular American biker, because he's a Texan, because Mexico is their border, and because Spanish is very common in these border cities. So it all worked out well.
Most of the people there, I think, in Mexico, they're Spanish speaking, right?
Yeah, yes. And Spanish is spoken around many of these states, like the second language.
Colonization. Right.
So yeah, that was the interesting part.
So, in a way, I mean, if my next question was around that only, because Charles encounters Devi without being a seeker, really, right, on a Western land.
Yeah.
So, somebody would call it, this is pagan symbolism, or a sort of a cultural provocation.
Yeah.
So, were you prepared again for that sort of criticism, or was the entire point to provoke that discomfort a little bit?
So there are two aspects to it. One, how would Indians see this? How would Westerners see this? Right? This was my first movie for the Westerners. Like, I'm making something Indian for the Western audiences, and I wanted to tell them in least confusing way, because this is way too much for them to understand. Like, so I'll simplify the Westerners' perspective. In spite of being involved in the movie, in spite of watching the movie, a general average American would see this as a self-transformation movie.
Right.
All they worry about is, there is a character, he wants to practice something. Doesn't matter what he wants to practice. We should give them the freedom to practice his belief. That's all they take away. They don't understand. I'm not saying they're not capable of, but it's not in their arena, in their scope, to understand Devi, Indian philosophy, the deeper philosophy. It's very difficult for them to get so much from this 46-minute film.
It's even difficult for us when we are born into it. So
Yeah.
obviously, it will not be easy for anybody.
Yeah, and the second part is, how do Indians see this, right? Why would a Westerner who doesn't even know about India is suddenly encountering a Devi without any effort? How how possible is that? I was addressing the same thing in another interview, but think about it. We never say, I mean, of course, we say that all this philosophy was born in India and then it was spread, but we never confine it to one space or time. We don't know what Charles was in his previous life. We don't know
Hmm.
what his prarabdha karma is. We don't know what he was, how much grace he has from divine,
Hmm.
right? And we also incorporate, I mean, we debated on this topic at length, like why that night, why that place, why that form of Devi? So if I have
Hmm.
to elaborate, we all believe in the power of of a place where our saints or gods have meditated, right? That's why
Hmm.
we go to Punya Kshetra. Like we
Hmm.
go to
Right.
Himalayas because there is already some work has been done already there, and we want to receive that, right?
Sort of energy field that has been already created.
Yes. So
Hmm.
this particular valley where he crashes, if you see in the movie, that is a place where someone has already meditated. It already has that spear. And number two, why on that night? Because Charles, just before that scene,
Hmm.
he vocally admits that he was in a state of mind where he was trying to understand himself. So few things happened in his life, and that crash works as a reset for him. Now he is suddenly thinking about a guy who was very rough is suddenly becoming an intellectual and thinking, what's happening in my life? Oh, there is so much pain, what is going on, all that. So it's the mindset that is also important. It's not that just because everyone goes to Himalayas they don't get enlightened, right? You also need to have that mindset.